is a massive day for freedom. Today is a day where you should start your day by drinking your coffee. I've already finished a couple cups of mine and skipping and whistling Dixie. I'm reading to you from the New York Post. Joe Biden was involved in a deal with a Chinese giant and was expecting to get a 10% cut. We now know this. We now know this. Miranda Devine at the New York Post has a new book that is coming out that is called Laptop from Hell. In her new book, Laptop from Hell, post-columnist Miranda Devine reconstructs the Biden family's quest for cash using files left on Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. She detailed how Hunter and his uncle Jim Biden entered into a deal with the Chinese government-linked energy conglomerate in order to get dirty Chinese money and influence. Hunter Biden and his uncle Jim were already waiting for Tony Bobulinski in the lobby of the bar at the Beverly Hilton when he arrived at 10 p.m. May 2nd, 2017. The Bidens chose a discreet couch behind a thick marble column where they could see everyone who walked in and out of the entrance. Joe Biden, who had left the vice president's office with little more than 3 months before, was flying to Los Angeles to speak at a prestigious conference. He was joining them within the hour. Bobulinski, 48, the third-generation Navy veteran and Democrat donor, this would be his first time meeting Joe Biden. When Bobulinski arrived at the bar, Uncle Jim, 7 years younger than his brother and more heavyset, but still a dead ringer for Joe, greeted him like an old friend. At that hour, the only other person in the bar was a casino operator, Steve Wynn, sitting with a woman at the other side of the room. Hunter and Bobulinski drank water while Jim ordered the club sandwich and explained the meeting to Joe was strictly high level. At 10:38, Joe arrived at the hotel's front entrance and with his Secret Service entourage. Bobulinski stood up to shake Joe's hands. Joe began by talking about the Biden family, their tragedies, their political career. Bobulinski described his background as a captain of the Penn State wrestling team and briefly outlined an impressive resume, including being a nuclear engineer instructor for the Navy's elite nuclear power training command. As soon as he got home, Bobulinski messaged Jim Biden on WhatsApp, great time to meet you. Thanks for the time together. Joe, it was a great time to talk. For 2 hours, he was regaled with the Biden family folklore, going back to Joe's first Senate election, Delaware in 1972, when Jim, Gen 23, dabbling in nightclub business and dropping out of the University of Delaware, became his brother's chief fundraiser. Jim filled him in on the efforts Hunter had made with the Chinese energy company over the last 2 years, leveraging Joe's names to advance Chinese Communist Party's Belt and Road agenda around the world. As Jim talked, Bobulinski marveled at the risk to Joe's career and the family's flagrant influence peddling during the presidency came to light. How are you guys getting away with this, he finally asked. Aren't you concerned that you're going to be put into your brother's 2020 presidential campaign at risk? You know, the Chinese, the stuff that you guys have been doing lately, around the world, Jim chuckled, saying plausible deniability. Now, we've already seen this before because we've already seen Tony Bobulinski on camera with Tucker Carlson. Here, you may have forgotten this interview is a portion of that interview. We've already know this. Watch.
I didn't generate that email. James Gilliard generated that email. And in that email, James Gilliard goes through intimate detail of what each individual's requests were from a compensation perspective and how the equity in the enterprise would be divvied up. Very important. May 13th, that email was generated by somebody else to me. In that email, there's a statement where they go through the equity. Jim Biden's referenced as 10%, doesn't say Biden, it says Jim. And then it has 10% for the big guy held by H. I 1,000% sit here and know that the big guy is referencing Joe Biden. That's crystal clear to me because I lived it. I met with the former vice president in person multiple times, and I had been meeting and talking with Hunter Biden and Jim Biden and Rob Walker and James Gilliard. Where the media has tried to hide, and I personally feel it's disgusting, is between that May 13th email and the final document that was executed called Oneida Holdings, LLC. In Oneida Holdings, LLC, the equity is broken up 20% Hunter Biden, 20% Jim Biden. Well, there are LLCs that represented them.
Right.
20% James Gilliard, 20% Rob Walker, and 20% me and my investment entity. What I'd ask the American people to read and look at is how from May 13th to the final Oneida document that got executed, did Jim Biden go from a 10% owner to a 20% owner? That's not my question to answer. I'm sure there were discussions within the Biden family. I wasn't privy to that discussion. But this is Jim Biden, the brother of the potential future president of the United States. It's not a distant cousin. It's not an employee. It's his brother who in documents defines himself as a political advisor to his brother. And so I'll leave that to the American people to answer that. But I don't understand how the American journalist is allowing that gap to be even talked about and defined.
He is the bag man for the Biden family. His job was to go and to get the bags and to set up the rat's nests for them to funnel their money through. So this guy is suddenly talking. He was on Tucker Carlson's show in a bombshell interview right around this time last year. You may remember Tucker asking this very important question.
Of this going forward, if Joe Biden is elected president, which could very well happen, how does this constrain his ability to deal with China?
Are you asking for my personal opinion?
I am. I'm asking for your opinion as someone who's worked with the Chinese.
So I think Joe Biden and the Biden family are compromised. Obviously, I've referenced that I held a Q clearance. You're briefed on compromise and, you know, who you're able to talk with and deal and do business with. And I just don't see, given the history here and the facts, how Joe can't be influenced in some manner based on the history that they have here with CFC and stuff like that. So as a citizen and an American taxpayer, I'm very, very concerned.
It seems...
Compromised, ladies and gentlemen. Is that not the most acute word to describe this administration? How this administration has dealt with China on every single engagement. How does it work? Leverage is very simple, and leverage is as old as time. Leverage is very simple. You get damning and incriminating, potentially criminal information on someone. You hold that to the chest, and then when that person assumes power or has cash in their bank account, you use that leverage against them to get what you want. It's a mafia tactic. It's a criminal tactic. It's a tactic that our CIA uses. It's a tactic that our FBI uses. Leverage is as old as time. Leverage is talked about in Genesis, in the Bible. Leverage is something that you see with Cain and Abel, right? It's greed, it's pressure, it's pushing someone in order to get what you want. This is what China has on the Biden family. This is what China is doing to Joe Biden right now. Joe Biden has taken no hard stances against China. They are openly fomenting war with Taiwan. Joe Biden does nothing. They're openly stealing our IP, hurting the American dollar, slowing down trade. Joe Biden does nothing. They're openly running concentration camps, enslaving their own people. Joe Biden does nothing. Nobody does anything. Why? Because of leverage. This is called leverage. Our corrupt, parasitical class in this country are getting too rich. Thank you for watching. We are 100% independent news. Are you sick of being lied to? We certainly are. That's why we started this channel. But we can't do it without you. We can't keep going without your help. All we ask is that you click like and subscribe and share this video. It's free and it keeps us going. It keeps us growing. It keeps us getting the truth out there to break the rotted corporate media infrastructure that wants to lie to you every single day, wants to corrupt your narratives, your truth, your story, and your very society. So support us by clicking like, clicking subscribe, and thank you, Patriots.